Welcome to the Daily Record Spin. I'm your host, Jimmy Clements, and I'm joined today, as always, by the co-host of this show, my brother, Danny Okey. Danny, how you doing today, man?
It's a good day. It is a good day. Beyonce finally has an Album of the Year Grammy. So I woke up feeling refreshed and invigorated this morning, ready to go. How about you?
Yeah. Pretty good. It is 7:03 West Coast time right now, and I am not a morning person, so I am up bright and early for myself this morning, but you know, it was worth it because we get to talk Grammys.
Definitely. Yeah, it's not terribly early for me, but also the awards went till almost midnight last night, so I am probably equally as tired as you are. So
yeah, I'm sure. No, it was a long show.
It was
worth it, which we'll get into. But let's just go ahead and start with the big takeaways from last night, which is what you just said. Let's start there first. Beyonce finally wins Album of the Year with Cowboy Carter taking the category.
Thank God. Literally, thank God. I think we both went into last night thinking Billie was going to win, and I think we both would have been very happy with a Billie win. But as I was sitting there watching the show, which by the way was incredible, and we'll get into some of the nitty gritty later, but probably one of the best, probably top 3 Grammys I've ever seen in my lifetime. So I was just thrilled. But as I was sitting there just consuming the show, I just felt in my heart more and more, I'm like, Beyonce needs to win this award. She needs to. Like, as much as I love Hit Me Hard and Soft, and I would have been thrilled for Billie, I was just like, please, for the love of God, it is Beyonce's time, and it has been Beyonce's time. And to end the night exactly how I wanted to, it just icing on the cake. It was perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, we're sickos. We were watching the pre-show off and on throughout the day, where they handed out most of the awards. They only handed out 9 awards actually on the telecast, which we'll get to later, but I didn't mind, to be honest.
I didn't either.
And
I thought I would.
I did too, but the Grammys kind of know who they are at this point, which is really cool. They're not a traditional award show. They're about the artists and about promoting their artists, and therefore I don't mind that most of the awards get given out ahead of time. I had some grubs with that, but we'll get to that later. But what I think is cool is that earlier on in the day, I kind of thought Beyonce was out of it, to be honest. She was losing a lot of these categories she was nominated for.
Yeah,
and
she was.
As you pointed out, in the country categories, you get mostly the voting is from the people that work directly in that field, which is largely the Nashville people, which hasn't really embraced this album. And so I kind of felt throughout the day like bad omen for her chances. But ultimately, when you added all in the votes from everyone, she was triumphant there.
Yeah, absolutely. The only part of that I was surprised about was the fact that she took country album. She was losing so many of the individual country categories. She got country duo with Miley, right?
Yeah.
Which was her only pre-show award. And it was just like, of course, the one song she did with the white girl, right, is the one that wins.
Yeah.
So when country album came around, I was pretty certain she wasn't going to get it because of what you just said, which is that mostly Nashville people are voting for that award, and they have long discriminated against Beyonce, famously since the CMAs for Daddy Lessons. And to see her win that, I mean, you could see it on her face. She was completely caught off guard to win that award. I think she was thinking exactly what we were, which is that this community will not embrace me, and my better chances are in the general field and not in the genre categories.
Yeah, I completely agree. Speaking of which, where was Beyonce at the beginning of the show?
This is
one of my takeaways from the whole night.
She did the same thing last year.
Did she
Or was
really?
it 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. Yep. She shows up late pretty much every time because she's Beyonce and she's just like, whatever, I'll be there when I'm there.
It's just kind of bizarre.
It is bizarre, but she's done this before.
Okay.
So when
that
she
makes me
didn't
feel
show,
a little bit better because I was like,
Yeah.
what the heck's going on here?
No, when she didn't show up at the beginning of the night, I was like, yeah, this is just what she does. So
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, this is not the first time.
Yeah. We'll get more into this later on, but I will say the moment of Taylor Swift, who started her career-winning country album, handing that award to Beyonce,
Very special.
Pretty amazing. And I will say just Taylor throughout the night getting no wins, kind of what we were hoping for. She really handled it with the utmost grace and dignity. I mean, she was there clapping for everyone, standing up, being so supportive on a rough night for her, to be honest.
She was a class act, truly a class act. And she always is at those awards. Like,
oh yeah,
she gets so hated on for lots of reasons, most of which are unfair. But one of the ones she gets hated on for is, trying to, she's, I don't know, chart obsessed and award obsessed and this, that, and the other. But every time she shows up to these award shows, she's clapping for everybody. She's up on her feet for every single artist. She knows every word to every song being performed. Like, she truly is someone who is there for the industry and for her peers. And, that's really cool to see. But I agree with you that having her, someone who started out in country and shifted to a different genre, was very symbolic of someone who started out in a different genre and shifted to country for this album. It was really cool to kind of see that parallel. So that was a really special moment. Anytime we can get those two in the same vicinity at the same time, it's like, oh my God, it's like too much star power to handle. But I especially loved that moment at the end after Beyonce had won for Album of the Year. Taylor cheers to Jay-Z. I don't know if you caught this.
Yeah, I did.
She did a cheers to Jay-Z, and you could tell just from mouthing it that she said it's been a long time coming. And you know what? It has been a long time coming. So that was really cool to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I feel like the Grammys can now finally turn the page on this. It's a nice monkey to get off their back. They're not going to feel like they need to award Beyonce in the future. Not that she didn't deserve it for this. She definitely was deserving. But it also kind of feels like a lifetime achievement award, 25 plus years in the industry. Your first time getting one of these, you probably should have won at least once before already. For self-titled or Lemonade or Renaissance, like she had so many
won 3
contenders.
times before.
Yeah. So losing to Beck and Adele's 25 previously, tough.
Just dumb.
Really tough. So
yeah,
very happy for her. Also very happy for Kendrick Lamar, the surprise of the night. He comes in with 5 nominations, all for the same song, Not Like Us. He wins all 5, including record and song of the year. The first rap song to win song of the year since
This Is America?
This Is America. Yep. And I think only the second ever, I believe, to win the award. So a pretty incredible haul for Kendrick Lamar. What an amazing sight to see. The man, if Drake had any legs left before this night, they're gone toast. Now. He erased him off the astral plane. He accepted his awards in a Canadian tuxedo, which is the most diabolical shit that I've ever seen an artist do on stage. Never mentioned the man by name ever, but everyone in that room knew what was going on. And I don't know that Drake can ever show his face at the Emmys or the Grammys ever again.
I mean, the entire audience screaming A minor. Did you hear them screaming it when he got up on stage? I'm like, whoa, Drake is so cooked. This man can never do anything again, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, rough day for Canada in general with the tariffs. And
oh my God, yeah.
Drake being buried a million times over. Tough.
Yeah. One of them deserving, one of them not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that was a huge achievement, and I was very happy for Kendrick. I will say, and we'll get to snubs here in a second, I don't know that I would have picked him for both record and song, but still undeniably a fantastic achievement for him and a fantastic achievement for hip hop. I think one of the main themes of the night I felt like was the Grammys finally righting some wrongs
Yeah.
Which they've been attempting to do for the past probably 5 or 6 years. They've really been committed to this. But I mean, we had Beyonce finally winning Album of the Year. We had hip hop, Kendrick Lamar, who has been in the industry forever, taking home both record and song of the year for a rap song, like a truly rap song. And then bringing back The Weeknd.
Yeah.
I mean, my jaw was on the floor. That man hates this establishment so much. I could not believe that he was there. So it definitely, it was one of the overarching themes of the night, other than the fires, obviously, which they made a big deal about. It was really, let's correct some of these mistakes.
For sure. And I will say one of the big themes of the night, both as an objective viewer and literally as somebody that was like, if you're looking behind, at the show, what they were trying to focus on, this idea of the 13,000 voters of the Grammys that they're pushing now. That's new. I mean, 3-4 years ago, we were having online debates about who even votes for these things.
Yep.
And to hear concrete numbers and to hear them talk about how more than 60% of the membership is new in the last 3 years, and that 40% of it is women, and then it's younger now. It did come off a little weird, that speech that he gave right before introducing The Weeknd, and then The Weeknd came out and suddenly everything was fine, because I was like, where are we going with this speech? It's really weird, calling out The Weeknd, talking all about your thing, and then all of a sudden he's there. It's like, whoa. But it was really good to hear that. I mean, it puts the Grammys in better standing, I think, with the public, hearing that it is a more democratic process and that more people are being invited to the party and having a say in these things. And that, the results, I think, really reflect that. I will say, I think Kendrick winning both awards, I think Record of the Year felt more obvious to me. And I probably should have seen Song coming, because there were definitely some think pieces about whether it could win Song of the Year in the days before the Grammys that I didn't put enough stock into. But I honestly think because this pop category was so strong this year, a lot of these vultured each other's votes and not like a sense of triumphing in both of those categories.
That's what I told my husband earlier this morning, was I just think because there were so many quality pop girl moments, it just split the vote, and it led way for all of the hip hop people to focus their attention on one thing. And
exactly.
It ended up coming out like that. So the more I thought about it afterwards, I was like, oh, this actually isn't that surprising, and maybe I should have seen this coming. But still very deserving.
Yeah,
for sure.
I wrote down here, have the Grammys grown up? Do we think that this is a one-time flash in the pan, or do we think that this actually represents something going forward?
I hope it represents something going forward. I really do. I think, like you were talking about the 13,000 voters, they made a big deal about the whole Weeknd speech. I just think they've been lacking transparency for so long. And so many industry people just were not taking them seriously and saying, nah, we're out of here until you can figure this out and tell us who is voting for these awards, how they're getting selected, yada, 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 yada. We're not going to come back. And I think having someone who was arguably the most vocal about it, The Weeknd, coming back was very symbolic. Now, I have my skepticism that his album isn't performing very well, and so he needed to boost the streams a bit. That's a little bit of a cynical take, but I do still think it's symbolic. There's some other really symbolic things happening here, that the Grammys used to be so political in who they would award. Only the people who would bend the knee and shake the hand would get awards. And I was talking to Hunter, my husband, earlier yesterday, and we were debating the best new artist thing, because we still weren't sure where that was going to go. And he was pretty confident it was going to be Sabrina Carpenter. And the reason he said that was because Chappell is shaking the industry, and she is saying a lot of things that are going to piss off the big labels and the big talking heads in the industry. And because the Grammys have historically been so political, he was like, I don't think they're going to give it to her, because she's not going to bend the knee and shake the hand. She's not going to do exactly what we say. She's not going to show up every single year and be gracious. She yells at paparazzi during acceptance speeches. She calls out things that are, injustices, just like she did last night. He was like, I'm pretty sure they'll give it to Sabrina, because I think she's going to be a lot more compliant with their thing. right? And that was a really good point that I had not considered, but to see her still win it and really shake up the night with her speech about developing artists and record labels taking advantage of them and not giving them healthcare, yada, yada, yada. I thought that was a really big moment and a very symbolic moment that they were like you said, grown up. Like, we're not going to do this political shit anymore. And we're going to be transparent and we're going to be progressive and we're going to move forward. So yeah, I thought I hope at least that this is that they're forging a new path for the awards.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, the Chapel speech and Benson Boone giving her a standing ovation during that, and then the whole crowd around him rising up was probably my favorite moment of the night. What incredible solidarity from those artists. You could see the pain in people like Doechie's faces while she's talking. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous that an industry that makes so much money cannot support the people who bleed and sweat and pour themselves out for that industry to make their money. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I know it is not a problem exclusive to the music industry. We're seeing this all over the world in every sector right now, where companies just do not value their human labor. And it is so important for someone like Chapel, who has that platform, to get up there and fight for people that are less fortunate than her. It is incredible to see, and I'm so proud of her bravery. You could tell she was shaking giving the speech.
She was nervous.
She was very nervous about it. And you know what? Bravo to her. Like, that was so important to do.
Huge moment. And there were so many, like, this Grammys above many others. I feel like there were so many artists in attendance who really have been working at this for eons, trying to get to where they are right now. You think Doechii, you think Chapel. I mean, even Sabrina, this is her first year of main success, and she's been releasing music since like 2015.
Yeah.
Benson Boone, obviously, like, these people have been doing this forever. Ray, oh my God, Ray. She's had the career from hell, getting picked up by labels, getting sexually abused by industry executives, like all of these things, for her to finally go independent and say, fuck it, I'm going to release my music on my terms. And then to be there on that stage, it just like, yeah, that was a really huge moment to say, you know what, we are the ones putting money in your pocket. The least you can do is provide us with basic human necessities. So
absolutely.
Yeah, huge moment. I absolutely adored her for saying that. It was excellent.
I want to get to some other things, but let's pivot real quick to favorite performances, because picking off that, the best new artist,
best part of the night
montage was the best part of the night for sure.
Best part of the night. Yep.
It was absolutely incredible. Seeing all of those artists, zero weak links in the group. I mean, truly the best probably that category has ever been. And I was seeing multiple people say it on social media last night too. John Legend had a Blue Sky post about it, saying that was the best group that he's ever seen, and he couldn't believe what he was watching. I mean, just amazing to come from your peers and hear that. Someone who was sitting up right at the front of the stage. Yeah, just really, really cool. Everyone blew me away, to be honest.
Me too.
Benson has so much charisma. He reminds me a lot of Sabrina in that way. Like, just absolutely just, captures the crowd. You had Teddy Swim's unbelievable voice from that dude.
Such a great voice.
Ray's performance was just so her having the big band on stage.
It was just excellent. I have chills thinking about it. She was good.
Of course, we got to talk Doechii, who absolutely brought the house down there.
I think she had my favorite performance of the night.
Yeah, I don't dispute that.
And I am not, you know me, I am not a rap person, but something about her last night truly moved me. When she won rap album, and her speech, she really, really captivated me and really moved me to the point where I was like, I'm going to go listen to her album immediately, because I just like her so much as a person. And you can tell how much work she's put into this. But then her performance, I mean, the star power, like she commanded that stage so effortlessly. Her music is so throwbacky, like very 90s hip hop. And just to see her, I mean, you couldn't even tell if there were any nerves. Like, it looked like she had been a seasoned professional among her peers for eons. And I don't know. I was truly blown away by her. She gave the performance of the night for me.
Yeah, absolute star-making evening for her in general.
Yeah.
The rap album win, we did call it on this show, so I was very proud of this, but it's hugely historic. Awesome to have Cardi B giving her the award as the last female winner of that category. I know we didn't mention on here, but yeah, she is the third, because I wasn't sure of the facts at the time. She is now the third woman to win that award in its long history, which is kind of embarrassing, but incredibly cool for her.
Yes.
At the same time.
Another really crazy stat is that Beyonce is the first Black woman to win Album of the Year since Lauryn Hill in 1999, I believe. And she is the first Black woman ever to win Country Album, and the first Black person, period, to win Country Album in 50 years. So those are some really fun stats for you to think about. So again, hoping that this means that we're moving forward as an industry, because those are some embarrassing stats.
Holy hell, that's rough.
Really embarrassing.
Thank God she won then. Like, I was not aware.
God. Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh boy.
I was reading some of those stats last night before bed, and I was just like, how have we gotten here? But back to the performances. Yeah, I definitely think hands down the montage of the Best New Artist nominees was the best part of the night. I want them to do that every year, but I also recognize that category is not always that good every year.
Yeah.
So it would be rough, but I do think it was really, and we got like 6 performances in a row with no ads, and it was just performance after performance. The crowd was going crazy. I mean, it was just really, really special moment. I was very impressed by that.
Absolutely.
What are some other highlights for you from the night?
So I really love the Quincy Jones memorial. I really loved all parts of it, including, and I was surprised, but I really, really loved Will Smith's speech. Will Smith's been a bit of a disgraced figure in the last couple of years, ever since his Oscars incident with Chris Rock. And it was really nice to see him up there. Like, he had tears in his eyes talking about his relationship with Quincy, and that was amazing. All of the performance aspects of that were incredible, but specifically Janelle Monáe doing Michael Jackson. She is unreal. I love her.
She's so good. I love Janelle Monáe. She's so underrated, dude. And she can do anything. She really can do anything. I mean, she got up there and did the moonwalk. I was like, what?
Effortlessly.
You can do that? Yeah, she was on fire. But
stupid good.
The one for me of that performance was Cynthia Erivo, who actually moved me to tears. Like, I was crying listening to
beautiful.
Her. Just a once in a lifetime sensational talent. I mean, that voice is just absurd. She has my favorite live performance of all time with her her Tony's performance of I'm Here. And she just continues to be a stupid, crazy live performer. Her voice, you just can't deny it. It's undeniable. Yeah.
No. She has a video from several years ago of her and Shoshana Bean singing I Did Something Bad by Taylor Swift, which if you have not seen, is one of my favorite videos ever.
It's so good.
Their vocal ability is unbelievable. For those who don't know, Shoshana Bean is a well-known Broadway actress, and she has played Elphaba before. Our mom actually saw her play Elphaba way back in the day.
She did.
Which is really cool. But yeah, Cynthia was amazing. Love her voice. I was, for half the show, we were like, why are you there?
I know.
we were like, I love it because, like, you're everywhere right now, but, like, where?
Right.
Why? And then she did that, and I was like, yeah. By the way, she pulled a Zendaya as well, sporting a giant engagement ring.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So she is with Lena Waithe, and so I'm assuming that's what's going on there. So they're engaged now. So very cool for her.
Yeah, that's great.
I guess this is the new celebrity trend: get engaged in private and then drop your ring at the award show.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah,
Taylor Swift, when are you next?
Sporting
Chiefs red, love that as well.
Yeah, Oh yeah, her dress was killer. She looked so beautiful.
She did. Yeah.
Other standout performances of the night, obviously Chapel was unreal. Just
I love Chapel. It was healing. It was healing
to
for the
see
world right
someone
now.
so unabashedly queer on stage at a moment like this, and to be so vocal about it. Like they even did her little clip before, which I loved. I wish they had more of them. Those little clips, the interviews before the performances. Her just saying, you know, I wish I had someone like me. Growing up, I felt so isolated as a queer person in the Midwest. And obviously that hit very home for me, but it just was, I felt like so much of the award show, not just Chapel, so much of the award show was very timely and very healing. I saw someone on Twitter being like, this Grammys is coming at us at the timeline where Kamala won. And it really did feel like that. It was like, a very healing night in a shroud of darkness. So Chapel was a huge standout. Sabrina is so goddamn funny.
She cracks me the hell up.
Star power on that girl is unreal. That was my favorite live performance I've seen her do so far.
Well, yeah, and it's fun because you could kind of tell throughout the show which artists were like, okay, not enough people have seen me. Let me do my thing still.
Yep.
But Sabrina and Chapel, because they've been so overexposed in the last year, they both brought something completely new. Performance that we hadn't seen before. You know, for Sabrina, it was really a whole construction, a tap number, like very putting on the Ritz type of deal that she was doing. It was super fun. And then for Sabrina, I mean, and for Chapel, riding a giant pink pony on stage was unbelievable.
They had budget.
I know they did. So that was really fun to see. They're like, all right, we got to bring it because everybody's been following us this year. We need to show them something new. I loved that. Yeah.
I did too. They were both so excellent. I saw a lot of chatter, including at the red carpet. People were saying that they were performing together, which did not end up happening.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So I don't know where that came from, but I mean, even a lot of the celebrities attending thought that was happening. So I'm not sure what that was about, but I'm glad they didn't actually. I'm glad
too. They both deserve their own moment. Yeah. Going back to what you just said about those clips before, this was one of my major points of the night that I wanted to hit home. I thought the Grammys did a wonderful job promoting their new stars. Because if you are someone that isn't really invested in the music scene, but, you know, watches the Grammys every year, this probably was a bit jarring in the major categories because you had a lot of artists that you probably not heard of or were kind of obscure before. Charlie, Billy, or I mean, not Billy, but Charlie, Sabrina, Chapel. There were several in those categories that really needed the introduction. And I felt like the show provided them a great moment to give a little bit of backstory about themselves and then pair that with an amazing performance. And so I hope they continue that going forward. I think that was really important and smart for them to do to really just promote the health of the industry in general.
Agreed. Yeah, completely agree. And the Grammys, and you know, we'll get to this later in snubs because I'm sure we have a shared very big snub, but the Grammys do have a history of really embracing the hot new ingenues and awarding them very nicely, and then a few years later just dropping them. So I hope that does not happen with Chapel and Sabrina. I hope as they continue to grow and especially with Charlie. Do you know what I mean? Like, we cannot be all in for Brat, and then the next experimental thing she does be like, "Ooh, that's too much." You know what I mean? Like that's what we're not going to do. So I really hope that they continue to embrace these people as their careers progress instead of doing what they have done to Billy. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get to the Billy stuff later. I don't want to quite get to snubs yet.
Yeah.
The major thing I really any other big performances that you loved throughout the night?
Oh my God. You know what was insane was Bruno and Lady Gaga doing the Mamas and Papas.
That was amazing.
Yo, their voices are crazy. I think that's the best I've heard Gaga live in a long time. I mean, she was on fire. Not that she's ever bad live. She's incredible, but like she was on fire. Those two together are really, really special. And
they are.
Wow. That performance of California Dreamin' was awesome. It was so good.
In general, Gaga had a really good night for someone who had one, like one nomination for one song. They did win. So Bruno continued his streak earlier in the night of not losing a Grammy in 9 years when they won for best pop duo group performance for Die With a Smile. And then Kendrick ended the streak later on in Song of the Year. But just an insane stat. I give that to the people I was watching with last night, and their jaws were on the floor over that.
Yeah.
To not lose a Grammy in 9 years is absurd.
It is. It is crazy, but it finally happened. And you know what? Thank God it did, to be honest.
I forgot Leave the Door Open won Song and Record of the Year.
Sure did.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
It sure did. They loved the Silk Sonic stuff.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah, I was pleased to not see, like, as much as Die With a Smile is a good song, because it is. I was happy that did not take home those big awards. There were more deserving things. So
for sure. But Gaga had a very good night because she also dropped her music video for her new song, which I think is called Abracadabra, I'm guessing.
It is.
Wow. We're back. We're officially back.
We simply have never been more back. Like, other than Doechii, the highlight of the night for me was the Abracadabra music video. I was on my feet yelling. Like, I am so happy. Like, this is the most Gaga we've had since like 2011. And just to see, I saw someone tweet recession pop is back, and I thought that was hilarious.
It is, girl. I knew it. I knew when Trump got reelected that music was going to be bomb.
Yeah. I mean, that is the best video she has made since the Born This Way era. Like, the dancers, the costumes, the makeup. It was like, this is so Lady Gaga. Like, this is the weird ass performance artist that we have grown to know and love, and we have not had in a long time, at least in that vein. And I was yelling at the TV. I was on my feet. I was so excited by that song. I cannot wait for Mayhem now. I think it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, that was a huge moment of the night. Oh yeah.
It's called Mayhem. I missed that. Mayhem. Okay.
It's coming out in March, so we got a month. And yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm so excited. Album cover is sick. It's gonna be cool. Can't wait.
She really played this well because it's gonna be kind of a slow first 6 months of the year with how crazy last year was. She might be able to really dominate the charts for a while.
I think she will. Yeah. And this is also now the second year in a row that an artist has debuted a single during a commercial break, which I thought was SZA did it last year with Saturn. So I wonder if this will be a trend that they continue. I really like it. It keeps it exciting. For the night, like, oh gosh, what's going to happen during the commercial break? Because I wasn't even really paying attention. I saw Gaga in the costume and I was like, okay, this must be like the Nurtec ad or whatever, because she keeps promoting that migraine pill. And then she started singing and I was like, wait, what's happening? It was so exciting. Like, yes, please do this every year. It was so cool. I love that.
Yeah, I really like it too because it's kind of like a digital short during SNL. It just kind of breaks up the show and gives you something new. Also, something I liked about this Grammys telecast was that it was one stage, one location. I don't know when they started really doing that, but I remember in years past, it used to be just kind of all over the place, different side stages, different venues. It was just kind of annoying.
I agree.
And felt impersonal. And so I really like this new approach of we just do everything in the same proscenium. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. And the sets this year, I felt like they really took it over the top. Like the sets were so
me too.
Cool. Billy's California landscape was gorgeous to look at. Our mom was texting us and she's like, is she there or is she somewhere else? Is she off site? Because it really
at first I thought it was like real. Shooting in from another location, and then I was like, oh, that is just LEDs.
It was gorgeous.
That's crazy. Yeah,
so gorgeous. Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
So the big thing I still want to get into in terms of things we loved about the show was the celebration of Los Angeles that happened last night. Cool. Really, really special to see. I will say moments of it were traumatic because of living here during all these fires, but I know that people needed to see that, especially because there's been so much anti-California sentiment from the right, which is just so ridiculous. It was important to see that real people are being affected and not just the billionaires that are sitting in that room. And I loved drawing the focus away from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood in that night in general and focusing on the people that need help the most. I really thought that was special. And seeing all the artists do tributes to California and to LA in general was just like really healing and beautiful to watch. The moment of the LAFD presenting album of the year was really special. Getting a full standing ovation from everyone in Crypto Arena as they came out. I don't know whose call that was, but what a brilliant move. And I love how Trevor introduced it with here to do the easiest job they've ever done.
Yeah, no,
Los
really.
Angeles Fire Department.
Yeah, that was a very, very special moment. And the fact that they raised $7 million in one night.
I know.
Absurd. That's a crazy amount of money. So yeah, that was a really cool part of the show. And we knew going into it that was going to be a big focus of the night. They had announced that prior, because they almost got canceled or moved because of the fires. So it was cool to see them still able to do it amongst the devastation and then make it more about fundraising money for those people. It was very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And the news that just dropped, I think it was yesterday morning, that they finally have 100% contained the Palisades and Eden fires, which are the two biggest. It's been a crazy month here. Yeah. And I'm just so grateful to all the firefighters and all the first responders who, got us through the darkness at least. And there's a lot to do now to rebuild, areas of extreme devastation. We're talking like areas that could be like war torn, Yeah. There's so much work to be done, but I'm really grateful that the focus of the show was on that and on the community. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was very special. But I do have to say, I was not as impressed this year with Trevor Noah as I have been in years past.
I kind of agree.
He was a little awkward this year. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I've actually quite liked him as the host for the Grammys, because this is like his 5th year, I think.
Yeah, 5th year straight.
Yeah, been doing it a while. So I normally like him, but this year I just felt like something was off. It was a little awkward. I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm not sure if you felt the same way.
I kind of did. I think this happens to any host that does a show for this many years in a row. It just kind of becomes stale at a certain point. You almost need to hand it over to somebody else after like 4 years. Not that Trevor can't come back and do it in a couple years again, but I remember LL Cool J did a lot of years in a row too, and eventually people just got tired of him also. It's just human nature. I mean, you have your moment of zeitgeist where you're like really tapped in, and then after a while, it should be really someone else's job because they're more positioned at that point. Yeah. It's okay. He wasn't bad. I just felt like it was a little, it also clearly had an agenda at the beginning of the night, which I was like, I mean, we were really talking about how Beyonce hadn't won that award at the beginning, and we were both like,
I was so
all
scared.
of this for your what?
Because this is not the first time he's done that. He did that when she was nominated for Renaissance. It was like, is she gonna take it home this year? And then freaking lost to a white man. So I was when he started on that. No. When he started on that, I was like, you better not do this again, where you are going to say all these crazy stats about Beyonce and shower her with compliments only to not give it to her. I was really scared, but thank God it paid off.
Yeah, for sure. Ultimately, though, it wasn't like a deal breaker for me. He was fine, but it wasn't.
I totally agree. It wasn't a deal breaker. He just was a little awkward. So,
one deal breaker for me was that "Hit Me Hard and Soft," our favorite album of last year, left with no Grammys. That's a real bummer. That's a real bummer. A
huge bummer. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, is how when Billie was the bright young ingenue, she won all 4 of the general categories, the big 4, her first Grammys. And then she has won a few here and there, record of the year for Everything I Wanted. She won Song of the Year for What Was I Made For. But Happier Than Ever and Hit Me Hard and Soft now have come home with 0 Grammys. So the only album she has been awarded for is her debut album, which is really interesting. So I hope that she can come back from this. I hope that they have not just forgotten about her. I recognize that this was a truly unreasonably competitive year, like one of the most competitive years in music I've seen in a long time. So I think in any other year, Hit Me Hard and Soft probably would have been awarded. And, you know, this is not to diminish from Beyonce's award, because again, I think I really was rooting for Beyonce more, but I would have loved for Billie to at least taken home Song of the Year for Birds of a Feather. I mean, just something, you know, because Sabrina won Best Pop Vocal Album, which I called that. I think that was the right choice still for Pop Vocal Album, but it was like, if we weren't going to give Billie anything in the major four, I would have rather seen Hit Me Hard and Soft take Pop Vocal Album, because Sabrina won Pop Solo Performance for Espresso.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we spread it a little bit? Like, Billie had an incredible record. So that was my literally one disappointment of the night, which is crazy to think about, because Grammys usually piss me off bad. So the fact that was my only complaint, really, like, I wish Kendrick wouldn't have taken Song. I wish Billie would have. That was the only switch. You know, in general, I'm pretty happy, but that was a huge disappointment to see.
Yeah, it's just a little sad. Like, it's
sad.
I'm sure Billie and Phineas were fine. They seemed like great sports throughout the night. They've won plenty of Grammys, but it's just like, it's going to look weird in a few years looking back and seeing that won nothing. It's like,
yeah,
Hit Me Hard and Soft won 0 Grammys. What the hell? But you know, I can't really dispute their other choices. It's not like the Grammys voters knew which categories were going to be won by who and what. You know, they can't really divvy that up. And like, you totally called the short and sweet thing. They picked the pure pop album. I have no qualms with that. It was one of my favorites of the year as well. And we both had short and sweet on our top 10 list. So, I was very happy for Sabrina. So another moment of the night that is not necessarily a snub, because she won many Grammys, but we didn't get to see Charlie accept a Grammy, which is a real bummer.
No, it is a real bummer.
And that is really the only qualm I have with not giving out all these awards on the show. I don't know why we just didn't give out the dance electronic album on the telecast so that she could have won something. Like, if she was clearly going to win that award. So I don't know why we didn't just put that one there too.
I know. I think they really could have and made it 10 awards instead of 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I almost wonder if they were worried about what she would say.
It's possible.
Because Charlie's such a loose cannon, and
she is.
But then again, so is Chapel. So
yeah.
I mean, give or take, but Charlie is she's pretty crude, right? And she is not afraid of who she is and is going to say whatever the hell she wants. So I do wonder if that was part of it, if they were just scared about what she would say. But yeah, it would have been nice to see someone who has been in the industry for so long and has been changing the way we perceive pop music and not getting credit for it for over a decade. And to see that triumphant success story accept an award on stage would have been very cool. But I'm glad we at least got a Brat performance, which was killer, by the way. It was
she killed it. Well, and they gave her pole position. She was the last performance of the night. So
yes,
I will say that they probably knew that was going to happen, and we're like, okay, well, let's honor Charlie by giving her that last slot. But yeah, she killed it. It was so great.
It encapsulated what Brat was.
Yes.
So hard, you know, like starting out in the car. There's this meme that Charlie's always in a car, like in all of her eras. Like, it's just a staple of her music. She's always driving. And so she's starting out in the car. She does Von Dutch. She does the camera, swatting the camera thing away. That she does in the music video, and she's outside, and then the It Girls come on either side of her and walk down, and they're strutting. Like, I'll call back to the 360 music video, and then she gets on stage and does Guess. I was pretty sure Billie was about to come out. I don't know about
Me too. I was surprised that she did it.
I can't believe they didn't do it. But they did show her in the audience multiple times, just singing everywhere, just beaming for Charlie, which was really cool.
The Dare being on stage, just chilling there in his little suit.
Yeah.
I was like, he's not doing anything up there, but it's just enjoyable.
I know. And just the party, all those people around her just thrashing. The lights are going crazy.
Such a vibe.
It was so Brat. I was like, okay, I'm glad they didn't try and like dull this down a little bit for the audience. I can't believe it was televised. Like, people are going to be mad. I texted you. I said Fox News is going to have a heyday with this.
I was going to say, all the Midwestern moms are going to be like, what was that?
Yeah.
I loved the whole show until the end. That girl was so inappropriate.
I loved it. I thought she was great. But yeah, I agree. Seeing her accept an award would have been nice.
Yeah. Any other snubs that you felt like were like, that sucks?
Really, no. Like I can't think of anything that, I don't know, like none of Chapel's music got awarded.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
That could have been nice, but again, no. You know what we need to talk about still? As we are discussing the Grammys becoming less political and moving forward, the fact that all of that talent was there, all of those pop girls were in that room, and there was a sorely, sorely missed individual, and that was Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
I mean, they have done that woman so dirty so many times, and they have not liked her since she gave them some backlash with her performance at the 2020 Grammys. I don't think we've really discussed this on here, but they really wanted her to do this, that, and the other. They're like, you have to perform this song. You have to do this. And she was like, this is my music. This is my slot. I'm going to do what I want. And she did. And they have hated her ever since. She didn't get a single award for Thank You Next. And that was a huge snub. And ever since then, they've given her scraps. Like she got a couple nominations, but she lost all of them. And she wasn't there. And that was her choice. I'm not saying that wasn't her choice, but it's because of the way that they have treated her. Yeah. And for someone who has really been one of the biggest, brightest stars in pop music for over a decade now, to be missed from that ceremonies, especially when it was all about women in pop,
and Cynthia was there,
right?
Right. It felt really obvious that she was not there.
It was a bummer. It was a huge bummer. And I was watching the red carpet on E, and they were like, Ariana coming up. And I'm like, she's not coming. She's already said she's not coming. So they're still using her name for views.
Shameful.
It just sucks. I'm like, come on. When is it Ari's time? It just sucks for her.
Yeah. Also shameful was the Beatles winning in a Grammy last night.
Oh my God, I just can't.
It was nice to see John Lennon's son up there, but holy hell, guys, what are we doing?
AI.
We're an AI Beatles song won a Grammy. That's so bad for the industry. It's just so bad.
It's just a bad look. It's a bad look. It's
not
for all
good.
That was the one bone they threw to the old white people that are still voting. It's silly, just silly, but whatever.
Pleasant surprises. Casey Musgraves winning Country Song of the Year for The Architect.
For Architect, that was really cool. Win.
Mm-hmm. I nailed my producer and songwriter of the year predictions. Dan Nigro and Amy Allen prevailed there. Very happy for Dan. As the biggest gut stan in the entire world, probably, I was disappointed that he did not win last year. So it was great to see him win this time mostly for his work with Chapel. But very happy for him.
Me too. It was definitely his time to win.
Yeah.
So very cool. But I think that about does it for the snubs. I mean, I was shocked at how pleasantly happy I was.
Yeah,
you just never know with the Grammys. So I was.
The vibes were right. They did it right.
They were right.
In fact, I was thinking back. I think this is my favorite Grammys telecast since 2011, which was Teenage Dream. It was CeeLo Green with Forget You. It was that Grammys. Lady Gaga performed Bad Romance. That Grammys is the one that always sticks out in my brain. Just go look at some of the other performers from that show. Unbelievable. But this one I really felt was that level. It made me very excited for the Grammys again. And it's crazy because all the night's biggest winners, Kendrick and Beyonce didn't perform. So
I know, right?
But it was still that great,
Yeah, the Beyonce Bowl was her Grammys performance.
Exactly, and Kendrick's doing his next week at the Super Bowl. So
exactly.
I can't wait for that show. By the way, oh my god,
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good show. One of my favorite Grammys of all time, I think I've talked about it on the show before, is the 2021 Grammys, which were the COVID Grammys.
Yeah,
because I just felt like there was such a level of camaraderie and there was such a sense of community. It wasn't like people were competing. It was like people were rewarding their peers. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like some years it just feels like we're fighting each other, and that year especially, it just felt like we're rewarding each other. It was different. It was a different feeling, and that comes naturally just from the human experience after COVID. But I felt that same feeling last night. Like people were just really thrilled for their peers and the progress that is being made, and to come together in such a dark time. It's like, I don't know. I felt that same feeling, which is why I loved this one so much in that same vein.
Undeniably, that was so cool to see. That really, the sense of community was real and it was palpable. Yeah. Alicia Keys said it in her speech when she was collecting her Dr. Dre. What is that word called? The Dre.
It's like the Lifetime Achievement Award or whatever.
It was very cool. I love Alicia Keys. So she just seems like such a pure soul. Just one of the kindest people.
She gave a good speech. Good speech.
Oh, shout out Shakira too for looking unbelievable.
She was awesome
and performing incredibly. Girl, what?
Yeah, she's still got it. She has still got it. Yeah, her performance. I forgot about hers. Oh my gosh, there were so many good ones. God.
Yeah, there were. We're definitely missing some good performances, but it was just a night of great ones, like throughout.
Yeah. So I mean, there was no one that I was like that was bad. No,
everyone.
And normally there are a few.
Yeah, that are misses. Yeah, but not this year.
And nope, they were all excellent. That was crazy.
Chris Martin did a beautiful in memoriam. They did a nice tribute to Liam Payne there.
I love his voice.
Yeah,
Chris Martin's voice.
So pretty. It's just gets to my soul.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on the Grammys?
I can't believe they got it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
As someone who has been watching this show religiously for years, I just cannot believe that they got it right this year. And thank God that they did. I just feel like they're getting better at that. Ever since Casey won for Golden Hour, I feel like we've been getting it right a lot. So
yes, I agree.
I'm happy. I'm very pleased this morning and thankful for Beyonce. Everyone say thank you, Beyonce.
Thank you, Beyonce.
Yeah, she's just
say thank you, Miss Carter. Yeah, amazing. What is sparking joy for you outside of the Grammys today?
We're gonna talk about it probably on the next pod. We haven't discussed this yet, but this FKA Twigs album, Eusexual, is fucking excellent, and I cannot get enough of it, and I cannot wait to talk about it. I don't know if you've listened yet, but
not yet. But it's happening this week.
It's so good. It's a bit of a grower. It took me a few listens to really get it, but once you get it, it's awesome. It's so good. This is really my first time getting into FKA Twigs. I've historically not that I haven't liked her, but I just haven't listened to her, and I'm about to do a deep dive because Eusexual is excellent. So that's what's sparking joy for me. It's so good.
Amazing. What about you? Well, for one, I got my ears pierced, which I'm really excited about.
Yes, very cool.
Something I probably should have done years ago. After doing it, I was like, that was A, not bad, and B, I should have done this a long time ago. Yeah. And then secondly, crazy enough, the most wild thing that happened, this is why I'm wearing my Lakers attire. The most wild thing that happened in LA yesterday was not the Grammys or putting out the fires finally. It was that the Lakers traded Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic. Now, I know this means absolutely nothing to people who don't follow the NBA, and therefore I have prepared an analogy for what just happened. Okay. I thought long and hard about how to explain this to our listeners.
In pop terms.
Okay. So the Dallas Mavericks star Luka Doncic, he was in the NBA Finals last year. He gets traded to the Lakers before he even hits his prime. He's 25 years old, okay? They trade away a 31-year-old Anthony Davis, who has won them a championship, very good player, but not an equal trade. This would be like in 2011, Paramore trading away Haley Williams to Linkin Park for Mike Shinoda.
Yeah. Okay.
Like not even sense. Your main singer, like your second best, because LeBron is still in LA. So now we've got LeBron and Luka. It's a weird team. It's probably not going to be good this year. They don't have any bigs, but for the franchise moving forward, it's an unbelievable trade for the Lakers. I don't know how it happened. Apparently Dallas just called them out of the blue and were like, do you want Luka? And they were like, obviously. What are you talking about? It was truly like, if you if you have any sports friends right now, reach out because they're probably losing their mind over this. It is the most shocking trade I've ever seen in any sport. I mean, truly, like it is a seismic, once in a millennium type event that just happened for the Lakers yesterday. So very cool for that. The city is kind of in shock still. We're all just like, what happened exactly?
How did this happen? Yeah. Thank you for putting it into pop terms for us.
You're welcome. I really thought long and hard about that because I was like, it's a team sport, so it's got to be bands. But then what bands can be? I was like, okay, how do we feel? I felt like that was a pretty solid analogy.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you for doing that for those of us who do not give a shit about sports. So
yes, thank you. Could you imagine if Linkin Park in this era had Hayley Williams as their lead singer? That would be what the Lakers are going to be right now. So there you go. So that was cool. That's definitely sparking joy for me. And I started my new job today, so that's nice. I've been unemployed for a minute, so it's good to get back to work, get some sort of consistency again. It'll be nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, and the Traders is so good right now. It is so messy.
Excellent. It is so absolutely this is the ridiculous season by far. The Traders are horrible at this game, except for Boston Rob.
He's trying, but he's the reason it's all bad now.
Well, correct. Yeah, he caused the chaos, but he's
like, guys, nobody trusts each other. It's like, you're the reason.
you did this. This was you. That. But to be fair, he is doing a good job at kind of putting out the fires, or at least trying to. Like the fact that you're caught up, right?
Yeah.
The fact that spoiler alert for any Traders fans, the fact that Derek was able to come with such a convincing argument, like, y'all, open your eyes, Boston Rob.
He brought the fucking receipts.
He brought the receipts. And for Boston Rob to be able to flip the script on Wes so effortlessly and have the entire table eating out of the palm of his hands, I was like, nobody is doing it like him. That was crazy.
That was the most unbelievable save I've ever, yeah, I thought he was dead.
I did too. I thought for sure he was dead.
He starts by rambling about iFire. I was like, what are you even talking about?
I know.
And then all of a sudden it's Wes. And then he weaponized everyone's dislike of Wes as a person to get him out of the game. I was like, man, this guy's he's a next genius. Level.
Yeah, there's a reason he's a Survivor legend. There is a reason. He is so good at this. And Derek is a Big Brother legend. I know. He played nearly a flawless game on Big Brother, like truly a flawless game. And the fact that not even he could outdo Boston Rob was crazy. Just wow. Yeah, I was so impressed by that round table. It was wild to see. Danielle Reyes is so horrible at this game.
She is She's nightmare.
Horrible at this game. It's awesome. It's so funny to see. This last episode, finally, Brittany Haynes got her moment, and she's finally coming to the forefront. She's so fucking funny, and she was being so underutilized. I was like, please let this woman have more screen time.
I'm glad we're. It's a bummer. Like, I was sad Bob H left. I loved him, but
I did too.
I was like, I'm happy that we're getting some more screen time from these other players now.
Me too.
Who have just been kind of sitting back.
Yep.
It's just good stuff.
It's a great season so far.
It's pretty gripping. I gotta say. Those roundtables are like, man, they give me what a great sports match gives me because they're so unpredictable. You're like, what the hell?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yep. Love the Traders.
Faux show.
All right.
Okay, so we'll be back in a couple of weeks with our next episode. Definitely going to discuss Eusexia and probably a Super Bowl performance recap. We'll get there as well. That's gonna be a fun one. I'm excited for the Super Bowl. I know people are kind of sick of the Chiefs at this point, but going for a three-peat would be historic in NFL history. It's never happened, so I'm gonna be glued to the TV.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
And the Eagles have had such a great season too with Saquon, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you for listening to our Grammys recap. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, ring the bell for notifications. On Spotify, please leave us 5 stars. Same with Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music as well. We are on all platforms these days. Danny, where can people follow you personally? Oh, and the show, I should say.
Well, starting with the show, people can follow the show on Instagram at the Daily Record Spin _podcast. And we now have a TikTok. Go follow us on TikTok. That's been really fun. So we are there at the Daily Record Spin. Personally, I wish I knew my handles by heart, but I think I am. You know what? I'm going to have to get back to you on that because I actually don't know what my handles are. But you can search Danny Okey, Okey, on Instagram, Twitter, wherever you. Yeah.
Awesome. And then I am Jimmy Clements FM on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and also Letterboxd. If you're a movie fan, please follow me on there. I have a lot of fun on Letterboxd as well. And with that, we will see you next time on the Daily Record Spin.